All right, well, looks like we have a couple more who have just joined, so I'm going to kick things off just in the interest of time. So Hannah, you want to head over to the next slide for me?
Yep.
Thanks. Actually, before we dive in, I should introduce myself. Again, my name is Jill Melton. I'm the Director of Admissions for our part-time MBA programs, which includes our MBA Direct program. Hannah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Hannah Nosane. I see a lot of actually familiar names on the call, so I'm super excited y'all are joining us. I'm the Associate Director for the MBA Direct program and work really closely with Jill and also Beth. Do you want to say hi?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Beth Wiersbicki, and I've spoken with, I think, a couple of you before, too. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions for the online MBA and also support Hannah with MBA Direct.
All right, well, thank you. And we're gonna dive into the content of the presentation right now. Please feel free to put any of your questions in the chat, but know that we'll also be opening it up for you to unmute yourself and ask questions live as we go through the session. Our goal, of course, is for you to learn as much as you can about the MBA Direct program as well as SMU Cox so that you can leave the session really excited about the program and get all of your questions answered. So I want to start at a very high level around what the MBA Direct program is. And as many of you know, this is a new program that we just launched this year. So we're very excited about it. Of course, it's rooted in our 3 pillars, just like all of our MBA programs are. Our 3 pillars are leadership, analytics, and experiential learning. So as we're going through the presentation today, and especially as Hannah's telling you more in depth about the curriculum, I want you to kind of keep your ears open for those 3 tenets, leadership development, the analytical coursework, and then of course, how we've built in experiential learning into each and every class throughout the curriculum. So our MBA Direct program is the coursework is predominantly online. So especially as you're starting the program in your first year, all of your classes will be online. And it's really important to us that our online classes are small. So that's why our class size is 15 to 20 people per class. That way, when you're in those live weekly class sessions, it'll be a lot easier for you to participate. You'll be able to have your voice heard. And make sure that there's really robust discussion. And again, that is a really important point of distinction, is that even though you're taking online courses, you still are meeting each week with a live class session that lasts for 90 minutes. So you're doing a lot of work on your own time outside of class to prepare for those classes. But then again, we also know that from a learning perspective, having those live class sessions with your professor to really dig deep into the discussion is very important. On the topic of experiential learning, one of the most exciting parts of the curriculum is our immersion, and this happens towards the end of the program. You'll see in a couple of slides what the curriculum looks like. And then the immersion will be either domestic or international, and you will go for between 4 to 6 days, typically about 4 days of working and then maybe an extra day or 2 for travel. And you'll be working in the immersion on group projects. You'll be working either on a consulting project for a company or for a local nonprofit. So the goal is for you to put together everything that you're learning in your MBA program and really put it into practice. One of the key tenets also for the program is our Career Management Center. So the MBA Direct is really geared for early career professionals. And so we want to make sure that we have really robust career management offerings dedicated to you as a student, as you're looking to grow your career, build your work experience over the 3 years of the degree program, and then towards graduation, really be set to land that MBA level job. I'll talk a little bit more in depth too about all of the other experiential learning and on-campus resources, but one question that we get frequently is, will I have access to MBA clubs and will I have access to everything that's going on campus? And the easy answer is yes. All of our students have access to everything going on campus, whether that be clubs, our business leadership center, our professional development events and networking events, or even our associate board mentorship program. So the MBA Direct has access to all of that. So I want to dig a little bit more deeply into those a couple things that we do right out the onset to facilitate leadership skills. One is the cohort model. So what I mean by that is that you're starting with the same group of students or group of students and you're advancing through the coursework together. So you're getting to know one another really well throughout teamwork, exercises, group projects, and then of course throughout the classroom, and then as you're getting to the immersion. And the cohort model is really, really great at building those leadership skills because it gives you that hands-on practice through teamwork. You'll also be learning through C-level executives. So whether that's in the classroom, whether that's on your immersion, or whether that's through different seminar series offered throughout the Business Leadership Center. And then we also have a course designed to helping you grow your executive communication and leadership skills. And so that happens a little bit later on in the curriculum. And again, I think as early stage career professionals, that's really important that you're honing those communication skills to grow as a leader and to be able to communicate with leadership. The second pillar is analytics. And of course, I mean, everything these days is big data, analytics. And it is really important to be able to have that analytical mindset, of course, and know the tools on how to manage data, how to analyze data. But another really important mindset is how to think about data and what that analytical mindset is. So at SMU Cox, across all of our MBA programs, we're not just teaching you the tools and the skills on how to solve problems with data, but we're also teaching you how to uncover what the problems are in the first place. Because if you think about it, you know, in your job, you're typically not given a well-documented or articulated problem. It's typically up to you to figure out what the problem is or what are the multiple problems that you're trying to solve for. And then you'll see here on the slide, we're also teaching you how to hone your storytelling skills with data. Because on the other side of that is once you've done the analytical work and once you've found the solution, you have to be able to tell a compelling and succinct story. And that really ties into the leadership skills, of course. And then experiential learning. So I've alluded to this, you know, as part of our immersion, you'll be doing a lot of case studies and simulations throughout the class, and we bring in real world problems and real world projects. So you're not gonna be working on cases that happened 15, 20 years ago. You're gonna be working on business challenges and problems that are unfolding today. So most of this I think I've covered a little bit, but I always want to pause and make sure we're going kind of like top to bottom in terms of what the program is, because at SMU Cox we do have 6 different MBA programs, and so I understand that sometimes it can be a little bit confusing to find the right one or to know all of the differences. So I want to be really clear about what the MBA Direct program is. So the MBA Direct is a 3-year, 53 credit hour MBA program. It is a program that is dedicated to early career professionals with the goal that you're going to be building your full-time work experience to be truly competitive for MBA level roles at graduation. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the fact that most of our MBA or all of our other MBA programs do require at least 2 years of professional work experience. And there's 2 reasons for that. One, we want to make sure that you have work experience to be contributing to the classroom. But the other more important reason is that is what our corporate recruiters are looking for. And so we want to make sure that as you're graduating from our MBA program, you know, you're hitting that 3, 4, 5-year mark to be really competitive on the job front. So the goal with MBA Direct, why we created it, is to help early stage career professionals, so people with 2 years or less of work experience. I know a number of you are probably just graduating from undergrad as well, or will be graduating in the next year and are looking forward to starting your MBA. The goal of having a 3-year program is that you're building your skills while you're in the MBA so that you can really land that MBA level job. So it is a work requirement. There is a work requirement. You do have to be fully employed when you start the program or close to starting the program. You are able to do concentrations, which is another key attribute that Hannah will be going through a little bit more in the curriculum slide. But this allows you to really hone in a particular area, whether that be finance or whether that be marketing or management. You're able to really grow your skills in a specific area. And then, as I've mentioned, that tailored career support is going to be really important, especially if you're making a post-MBA career pivot. I've talked a little bit about the deliberate pace. So a lot of you too are probably very familiar with our online MBA program, which is a 52 credit hour program. And so for the MBA Direct, you see we've only added 1 credit hour, which is our career class, but we've actually slowed down the curriculum a little bit. And that for a couple reasons. One, we want to make sure that you're gaining that 3 years of work experience. But also, too, when you're starting out earlier in your career, we want to make sure that you're able to really focus on your job, and so that you are able to more easily strike that work-life balance. And then two, all of the curriculum will be delivered in an online format. However, you do have the option to take electives on campus, on our Dallas campus. So, so for some people, it will be a completely online experience. For other people, it will be more of a hybrid experience, and that's really up to you. So Hannah, you want to go through the curriculum a little bit?
Yes, thank you. I am sorry that I was a little quick on my fingers there last time there. Okay, so I think Jill has obviously given a really great overview of why the program started, who we're looking for. So I do want to kind of dive deeper into the curriculum right now to tell you all just a little bit more about what it actually looks like each semester while you're taking classes. I think Jill said this too, but we did model the MBA Direct program off of our online MBA program. So all these courses that you see in the first 5 semesters are the exact same professors, exact same courses, the same curriculum and content that our online MBA students are in. And like Jill said, we have slowed it down a little bit. So you can see in that first semester, the managing and leading people and data analytics courses, those are 2 of our pillars, right? Leadership and analytics. So we are starting you out in the program right away, kind of diving deep into 2 of those pillars. That experiential component does come into play in a lot of our courses as you'll be working on projects with companies. And so that's sprinkled throughout, but we wanted that leadership and analytics piece to really set the foundation of your curriculum. You can see that some of the semesters it does look like there are 3 courses, but any of the courses that have 2 asterisks next to it is actually only half a semester. So you're never in more than 2 courses at one time, which obviously means that like in semester 3, you can see you are in fundamentals of finance for the entirety of the semester, but strategic cost analysis and legal environments of business would both just be half the semester. So you're switching halfway through. Each semester is 14 weeks long, and classes, like Jill said, do meet live. So you are going to be in a Zoom classroom with those 15 to 18 people. Your professor, you'll get to know your professors really well. And then you can see in semester 5, which is the business communication course, and semester 6, which is the managing career course. Those are the kind of the things that we added to the MBA Direct that are not part of the online MBA program. And that's really designed to help you in that career transition to your next kind of level, like that MBA level career. So the semester 6 would be that summer semester heading in to fall recruiting, right? So we want to set you up over the summer for the recruitment, if you are looking to change roles, that recruitment process. I'm going to talk a little bit more about career resources in a little bit, so I'll leave it at that for now, but just know that the timing was very strategic of that semester 6, that summer going into fall recruiting. And then the electives that you see, obviously, you get to pick the electives, right? So I don't have the course names to give you, but for those of you in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you would be welcome to come on campus and take electives on campus if that's something you would like to do. If you're not in the DFW area, or if you are, but you just love the online learning experience, you would be welcome to continue taking electives online. The goal is for you, if you would like to be able to hone all of your interest in one specific area like finance or marketing, you would be able to take all those electives in that one area so that you do have a concentration upon graduation. And concentration is just another word, really, honestly, for major. So it's like the major of your MBA. And then in the semester 7 is when we would do that global immersion. So Jill mentioned a little bit about that already, but that is a real world consulting project where you are somewhere in the world with your cohort. That is, the official time that all of you will be together in person somewhere in the world working on a consulting program with a company on some of their business needs. So I see a couple of questions coming through and it looks like they're getting answered. So that's great.
Yeah, it was just a question on grading and exams.
Perfect.
Good question.
And so I was also going to say, if anyone wants to unmute themselves, feel free to ask questions here as well. Otherwise, the chat box is open as well. So I'll pause just for a second in case anyone wants to unmute themselves and ask questions about the curriculum. Okay. So experiential learning opportunities. Jill obviously talked about experiential learning being one of the pillars of this program. And so I wanted to dive into a little bit more about what that means and what you can do once you're a student here. So one thing we have is called our Business Leadership Center, which you can see on the screen. We have over 90 seminars annually. Those seminars range from industry topics, so like a speaker who's in real estate or in marketing or in finance coming in to talk about the industry and trends or maybe a specific aspect of the industry, but also professional development. So we have, you know, a LinkedIn professional who comes in and works with you on how to build a LinkedIn profile so that you are able to stand out when recruiters start looking at your LinkedIn. Or we have, you know, seminars on presentation techniques like leadership, all sorts of things. And so the Business Leadership Center is something that you are either welcome to come on campus and be part of the seminars live, or we do also have online seminars as well. So either one is an option. The student-led organizations for professional development. So like Jill said, we have over 20 clubs. I want to mention that the clubs are specifically for MBA students. And so it is MBA students across all of our formats. So it's a great way to network with our full-time students, our on-campus part-time students, the online students. And really, regardless of whether you're an on-campus or online student, you have access to all the same resources. And so you are always welcome, again, if you're in the DFW area, to come to campus for any of the club activities. If you're not in the DFW area, there are opportunities to connect online as well. And so that's something we encourage. When we think about the clubs, you can see right there, it says industry affinity and experiential. What that means is industry clubs would be related to specific industries. So marketing, finance club, real estate club, strategy club, entrepreneurship. Affinity would be things like women in business, our Black Business Association, Latino business, things like that. And then experiential clubs would be more of those hobbies and fun activities. So our golf club, our wine club, the running club, if you're a runner, you know, ways to connect with people in more of a social way. Another thing that we talk a lot about is the SMU Cox network. So we have an associate board mentor program that would allow you to be paired with a mentor. And so the way that that process would work is you would have access to a database of over 250 mentors who want to help the next business generation. And so you can get paired with a mentor. You can pick your mentor based on industry, based on a company, based on a specific role, and be paired with that mentor and work with them to kind of further your professional development. And then we also have over 42,000 Cox alumni across the world. One of the ways that our alumni stay connected is through something called the Cox Networker, which is basically our own internal version of LinkedIn. And so that's a way to connect with other alum across DFW and across the country and across the world. And then certainly not last, there are lots of other experiential opportunities that aren't listed here, but one of the other things we like to mention is our 15 centers and institutes, which are all based on specific things. So like our KIT Investment Center, or we have an energy center, an entrepreneurship center. And so if you are really interested in a specific industry, we do have centers and institutes for those different industries that you can get involved in doing research, working with professors, and really just broadening your knowledge base on those specific topics. So with that, are there any questions? Again, feel free to unmute yourself. I know that Beth and Jill have been answering questions in the chat box, but if anyone has questions about experiential learning, happy to pause for a minute. Okay. So I know a lot of you are probably wondering more about the criteria for the program. So we'll talk about the student we're looking for, and then we'll go into actual like admissions requirements and kind of what to do for the application. But the MBA Direct, really, when we think about this program, like Jill said, we want you to be gaining work experience while you're in the program. But we also want to know that you will be successful in the program. So we're looking not only for the fact that you've had a full-time job offer, but that you had a strong undergraduate performance, right? We want to know that you're going to be able to handle the rigor of an MBA class coursework along with a full-time job. And so we are looking for people with strong undergraduate performance. people who have demonstrated leadership, and that can be demonstrated through both internships or full-time work experience. So if you're just graduating but have had internships and other things while you've been in school, we look at that. If you've had a year of work experience, we look at your last year. But really like leadership and ability kind of through those professional experiences. We talk a lot about spirit of resiliency, and what that means is, you know, if you have had a hard semester, have you been able to bounce back? If you've had different things happen to you in your life, are you able to kind of pick up and move on and motivate yourself to kind of keep going? Or do you kind of fall into, well, it wasn't my fault? And so I really encourage you to think about, you know, what can you learn from your mistakes? We're looking for people who take the experiences that they've had and the mistakes they've made and really use those to propel them forward, and not necessarily people who are making kind of excuses for something that may have happened to them. So really that ownership and resiliency. Intellectual curiosity, we obviously want people who are going to be curious and involved in the classroom. I think especially in an online format, we rely on a lot, like the intellectual curiosity is like, are you going to show up to class and be interacting with your classmates, right? It's a small classroom. It's 15 to 18 students. We do that so intentionally because we want you to be able to have great discussions, to be able to ask each other questions, to be able to push each other, push yourself to learn more. And so we are looking for people who are demonstrating that they have already shown curiosity in other areas of their life. And then obviously a strong drive to invest in your future, right? So that's professionally and personally. So an MBA can help you in a variety of ways. And so people who are looking to kind of set themselves up for success in the future, those are just some of the things that we look for. Any questions about that? Okay, well then we'll go on to the application process and what that looks like. So on the left-hand side here, I have the actual application itself. It is online. You can go to our website and click Start Application when you go to honestly any part of the website. We have that pretty easy to find no matter where you are. Along with that online application, we will require some additional things. The professional resume, that is a requirement. I encourage you to think about the professional resume in kind of a action-based way instead of a job duty way. So if you had an internship, think about those bullet points as being the way to tell us what you accomplished in your internship, not necessarily what your day-to-day duties and responsibilities were. So for example, in my role, one of my jobs as an Associate Director of Admissions is to interview candidates. But on my resume, I probably wouldn't put interview candidates because a lot of people would probably be able to guess that that's part of my day-to-day job. So instead, I would maybe talk about how many candidates I successfully, you know, admitted and got to choose SMU Cox. And I would talk more about that versus just like I read applications or I interview candidates. So if you can think about ways that you have been able to contribute and things that you actually accomplished, that would be the things we would want you to include on your resume. We have waived the GMAT and GRE for this fall. I'm not sure if you all are aware, but we've been in a global pandemic and there have been testing center closures all over. So we really do want you to be able to still, if you are interested in starting the MBA right now, we don't want that test to be a hurdle because of those test center closures. So you are able to apply without a test for this fall. There are 2 essays in the application. They're 250 words, so it is really designed to be a short essay where you answer the prompt that we have given you. We want it to be a jump start in the interview as a way to kind of have a conversation. It is definitely not a creative writing assignment. You don't need to worry about, you know, themes and motifs and all those things. Just kind of answer the prompts. One of the things that we have found is lots of candidates have things that they want to tell us about. And so we have included a 3rd optional essay. But my rule of thumb in the optional essay is if it's not something that the admissions committee would be able to kind of guess or assume, right? Like you don't need to write an essay about, oh my gosh, I love SMU, I really want to go there. That's great, we want you here too. But we assume that you want to be here because you obviously are applying to us. So you don't need to write an essay about that. Where an optional essay would be handy is if there was maybe one semester at work, or I'm sorry, in school, where you maybe had a rough semester and there were some underlying causes for that. Maybe, you know, a sickness in the family, or you were working and then you kind of realized working full-time and going to school full-time wasn't a good idea and you adjusted. That would be the time to kind of identify that. You know, if there's something that you think that a committee would be confused about and you really want us to have clarity there. The other way that I think the optional essay can be really beneficial for those of you who maybe don't yet have a full-time job, but are in the search process with one or multiple companies, you can use that essay to say, although I don't have a full-time job lined up for the fall right now, I've interviewed with, and then list companies, list the role titles, and say, here are the expected timelines of when I'll hear back. That's really helpful for us, because if you are in the process and your application looks strong overall, we would love to get your interview started. We just can't make a final decision until you have a job. But if you're already in that process, don't feel like you need to wait to submit your application. Just give us that option, that information in the optional essay. Academic transcripts, those can be unofficial for the actual application itself. But if you are admitted, we would need your official transcripts. We do not require letters of recommendation. However, we do require 2 professional references. Okay, so for those of you who have had internships or who are currently maybe 1 year into your career, a manager or someone you reported to would be a good reference. If you are still an undergrad and have not had true professional experiences, you know, if you've had any type of job, or, you know, if you've done research with a professor, that would be okay. Please refrain from using friends or family. Okay, we don't want a personal reference. We do want someone who can speak to your ability at work, your strengths and weaknesses, your leadership. So if any of you are in college and are athletes, maybe a coach would be a good reference. But yeah, definitely not friends or family. And then once our team reviews all of that information, you would be invited to interview. Okay, so interviews are by invitation only. And we do review applications as they come in, but we also have some deadlines. So I just wanted to share with you here. You can see that our priority deadline is tomorrow. So if you do apply by the end of day tomorrow, you will be guaranteed a $2,000 scholarship. Our next deadline would be June 26th. You would be guaranteed a $1,000 scholarship if you apply by June 26th. And then our final deadline is July 24th, and classes start that week of August 17th. Are there any questions about the application process or the deadlines that anyone wants to ask?
We have a question in the chat that
Sure.
instead of typing it out, I figured we could just answer it now because
Yeah.
it flows well. So Cynthia has a question about transcripts. So if she studied abroad, and getting those transcripts can be difficult. So Hannah, what's your recommendation on that?
Yeah. So what we found with most study abroad programs is that they do show up on your home institution's transcript as like pass fail. So for the application, go ahead and send us your unofficial transcripts from your home university, whether or not that does include your study abroad. If it does not include your study abroad, you can still submit the application. And then I would just start working now with whatever organization or with whatever university that is. We do understand that a lot of universities abroad don't have the same ease of getting transcripts like electronically, and they do maybe have to be mailed. So there is a little bit more leeway for that. But you know, it is something that I would recommend, so you could start working on now. When we say official transcript, what that means is that it is sealed, and so you have not opened it yourself. So if the university is going to mail you the transcript, please don't open the envelope. Have it sent to us, and you would get information about where to send that. Otherwise, if you have it mailed to yourself, you could then mail it to us. But please don't open it yourself. Okay, official means that we're the ones to open it and kind of see that it has to be a sealed and closed up transcript.
The only thing I would add to that as well is that we only require transcripts for institutions where you've got 12 or more credit hours or received 12 or more credit hours. So depending on your study abroad program, like mine, for example, I think I only had 10 credit hours. Yeah. So that was great. I did not need, I wouldn't have needed to get a transcript from my study abroad. So also check that. So if you're under that 12 credit hours, you should be fine.
Yeah, thanks. That's a good note, Jill. Any other questions about the application or the deadlines? Again, if you can get your application in by tomorrow, you're guaranteed a $2,000 scholarship. And I'm sure lots of you are wondering about scholarship and financing, so we'll kind of move right into that. We do have merit-based scholarships available. They range from $1,000 to $15,000. So $15,000 is for our top candidates. When you're given the award, it is a one-time award, so that would be It's not each semester. If you get a $5,000 scholarship, it's a $5,000 scholarship one time. There is nothing that you need to do to apply for scholarship. Every single candidate who applies is automatically considered. We review every candidate in light of scholarship opportunities as well. And scholarship evaluation happens at the same time we evaluate whether or not you're going to be admitted into the program. So if you are admitted, you would find out at that same time whether or not you're being awarded scholarship. We do have a financial aid advisor who works specifically with our part-time graduate business students. So she's a great resource. If you're admitted, we would connect you with her. And then she also can give you information about both the federal and state financial aid that is available for part-time students. So you are able to take loans out as a part-time student. She walks you through that whole process. And she is honestly a great resource. Everyone loves Meredith. And then the other thing that not everyone thinks about, but is corporate sponsorship. Okay, so a lot of corporations will give some type of tuition reimbursement. And so I encourage you to research your company's benefit. And then we also can provide help and guidance of like negotiation or even working around that to ask for that. Sometimes if an employer can't give you, money, but they can maybe work with you on flexibility of hours or like, shifting some of your hours to different days so that you can manage your time well for that time you're in school. But there are a lot of companies who do give some benefits. And so that is definitely something, if you have a job, reach out to your manager and reach out to HR. I always recommend both because HR should know kind of the general policies for the whole organization, but your manager sometimes knows of something specific as well. But then also if you're in the job search process and that is something that you can negotiate, like, maybe you can't negotiate a bonus right now or a starting salary. I'm sorry, like a bonus or any type of, what am I trying to say? Like bonuses throughout the year, maybe you could say like, okay, well, if you can't give me cash right now as a signing bonus, could you maybe help with $5,000 a year towards my graduate degree? So that's something to negotiate even through the job process. Or if you're comparing job offers, looking to see maybe one company does give you better benefits than another company. So that's a little bit more about the financial aid aspect of it. Are there any questions about the financial aid or about anything that we've gone through that we could continue to answer? Was there anything in the chat, Jill or Beth, that I missed that we could cover here, or did we kind of get to everything?
Yeah, I think we covered it. There's a clarification question about transcripts. So again, even if, so let's say you took 2 or 3 courses at a community college, for example, if it's under that 12 credit hours, we don't require unofficial or official transcripts. But if you have received more than 12 credit hours, please make sure to submit those as well.
And then, so the last thing that I'll just say is that Jill, Beth, and I, we love to get to know you. So if you have questions, I should have probably put a slide with our contact information, but I will be sending out, all of you should have my email address from when I sent the Zoom link, but I'll also be sending out a follow-up information. And so please feel free to reach out to any of us. We're always happy to have conversations about the program and get to know you a little bit better. And thank you all so much for joining us today, and we hope to see applications from you soon.
Hey, Hannah.
Yes.
I do have a question about the online versus on-campus electives.
Sure.
Would you ever come across an elective that was only offered on campus, or are they also all offered online?
That's a great question. Yes. So we, in person, we offer over 170 different electives. So it is very likely, I can say with quite certainty, we will not have all 170 of those electives online. What we will do is we will look at the courses that are most popular, the courses that we know people are most interested in, and those will be the courses that we will have probably as electives online. We also, because we have an online MBA program, the core classes in those first 5 semesters of the MBA Direct are the same core classes in the online MBA program, but there are also other classes that our online MBA students take that are not part of your required curriculum, so those would also be offered to you. So I would say you would have more of a limited number of options to choose from online, but they will be based on what what your feedback gives us in terms of what's most interesting and what type of classes you would like. So I don't know if Jill, if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I think just like Hannah said, I mean, one of the great things about SMU is that we do have so much to choose from. And so we'll work hard to bring as much as we can online. But know that if you want to get, that full 170, that you have to be open to coming on campus for some of those electives, perhaps.
Did that answer your
Thank you,
question?
guys.
Okay, good. And then I saw another question in the chat about the Dean Scholarship. So yes, you are automatically considered for every scholarship just for applying. You do not need to fill out anything separate. Every candidate who applies will be given the same consideration for scholarships. And I think I said this, but scholarships are merit-based. So that means that the overall strength of your application, it's not need-based. So it is, when we say the strength of application, we mean your undergraduate GPA, the extracurriculars you're involved in, your resume, your work experience, the strength of your interview. It's all of those things together. Any other questions or anything else we can do for you guys?
The only other thing I wanted to say, and this, really echoes Hannah's comment around reaching out to us, getting to know us. If you are job seeking right now, just be really transparent about that and letting us know where you are. Because this is a newer degree program, I know some of you might have started down another path with us initially, and now you're learning more about the MBA Direct. And so we're more than happy to have those one-on-one conversations to make sure that you're finding the program that best addresses your needs. I'm willing to guess that many of you, like I said earlier, are just graduating, and so maybe you're still interviewing for full-time jobs. I did want to point out too that we do have a full-time Masters of Management program that is designed for individuals with less than 2 years of work experience. It is a full-time program. It starts in the fall. So some of our candidates that we're working with on the MBA Direct are also thinking about the Masters in Management program as well, if they're unable to secure a full-time job by the start of classes in the fall. So just know that that's also an option. And again, we're more than happy to work through all of those with you. Another question, the total cost of the tuition specifically for MBA Direct program. So MBA Direct will be billed on a per credit hour basis. And so the tuition is $1,762 per credit hour, plus program fees. So when you're looking at the all-in cost of tuition as well as program fees, it's about $96,000 over the 3 years. And that's billed on a semester basis. So you're based on which classes you're taking that semester. So the semester cost will ebb and flow a little bit, as it's not, in different semesters you're taking different credit hours. And SMU, in addition to having a financial aid officer that we work with and the scholarships, we also do have different payment plan options.
And then someone just asked about a full-time job that's not scheduled to start until September. Yes, please you'll be able to put in the employment history, if you say current role, put the company name, the title of what you'll be doing, and then just put, it says like reason for leaving the job, you can put in there starting in September 2020. You don't need to write a whole optional essay about that. You could just put that in the employment history.
And I've seen people too put it on their resume, right? With their start date. So that lets us know, easily see on your resume what your plan is. Just make sure that you've put September 2020 so that we understand when you're going to be starting that job.
Yep. And then I know some people are visual, so I'm actually just typing in right now. If you want to see the cost, I went ahead and put that in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you everyone so much for joining us today. Please reach out. We look forward to continuing to get to know some of you, and I look forward to seeing applications from you all soon. Have a great day.
Thanks, you guys. Enjoy your weekend.